everybody, welcome to another edition of Toddster's Magical Mystery Review. I'm your host Toddster, and as you can tell, I sort of moved space, so to speak. This is my bedroom here, but anyway, for this episode, I'm going to talk about this amazing album, simply called Imagine, from John Lennon. Came out September 9th, 1971 on Apple Records, and yeah, this is a very wonderful album. So when John made this album, he decided to record this in his home studio in Tittenhurst Park, and he said that that this album was sort of like the last album, Plastic Ono Band, but with some sugarcoating on it, and so he had Phil Spector produce it as well, and he had Klaus Voormann on bass, and even brought in George Harrison to play it on some of the lead guitar parts, and Alan White, later be in Yes, did the most of the drums. And so, as I said, this was recorded at the Tittenhurst house, and then when John and Yoko moved to New York, they took tapes and added some strings and some overdubs, and and this is a pretty awesome album. So let's dig in, shall we? So anyway, we'll start off with the famous title song, Imagine. This is without a doubt John's most famous song, and he wrote this inspired by Yoko's the Grapefruit book, which she wrote before she met John. I mentioned the Imagine word many times, and thought I'd write a song about it, and so his message of peace and love and freedom and all that is spread throughout the song, and it's a instant classic, very instant classic. It's a wonderful song. Then we go into Crippled Inside. Now this is more of a boogie woogie toe tapper, and it's another good tune, and very tongue-in-cheek. And then we go into Jealous Guy. Now this John actually wrote this in India back in '68. He actually wrote it as Child of Nature, and yet by the time he recorded this album, he completely rewritten the words into the song that we know and love, and sort of has the same vibe as the title song, and yet another classic song, and then we go into a more heavy bluesy type vibe. It's So Hard, and this one has King Curtis on saxophone. In case you don't know who he is, he played saxophone on the Coasters' Yakety Yak and some other classic tunes, and this is probably written about life struggles and a little bit of innuendo portions throughout. It's and it has a great, awesome, raspy voice from John. You gotta be somebody, you gotta sue. We finished the first side with I Don't Want to Be a Soldier, Mama, I Don't Want to Die. It's a very long title. But it sounds a bit like this came out of a little jam session that they had. My opinion is that it's a bit too long, and not much going on, so to speak. So we flipped the record with Give Me Some Truth. Now this is another song that John sort of tried out with the other Beatles during the Let It Be sessions, and it's a very angst song, against politics and the government and all that stuff, and and so Then we go into Oh My Love. Now this is the only song on the album co-written by John and Yoko, and the rest John written by himself. And it's probably the most gentle ballad of them all on this album. And yeah, lovely vocals from John, and nice guitar work from George. And yeah, and then we go into the infamous How Do You Sleep? Yes, this is John's little punch back to Paul, and the Ram album. Man, it really hurts. Just listening to the song. And how they were dealing with each other during this time, and man, sort of like you could tell, John was sort of like giving you a black eye or something. Yeah, but has some great guitar, slide guitar from George. And then we go into the another gentle ballad, How, which in case you don't know, John sort of steals a bit from The Long and Winding Road. So the last song, he rips Paul apart, and on this one he rips Paul off. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, it's everyone knows Long and Winding Road, the Long and Winding Road, dun 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 dun, and then on this one, How, he's how can I go forward when I don't know what is I'm giving, dun 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 dun. Those 4 notes, But anyway, as for the song, lovely strings and all that, and then we finally end the album with Oh Yoko, and John sort of returns to the mouth organ, harmonica, on this little ode to Yoko. Yet I do get a kick out of seeing the footage of John recording this song, and sort of like going out on the engineer. What's the matter with you, Phil? It's the last fucking verse. So anyway, so that's the album. So let's talk about the record sleeves, shall we? So anyway, yeah, this was taken. The front cover was taken by Andy Warhol, and yet sort of mixed it in with pictures of clouds and all that. Very lovely. And then the back, yeah, there's a picture of a nice profile of John, which was taken by Yoko. Well, turn this up a bit. Yeah. There we go. And it has a little quote of from Yoko's grapefruit book. Imagine the clouds dripping. Dig a hole in your garden to put them in. Yoko 63. And yet the label is pretty interesting. Instead of the green apple, you see, it's a John apple. Yeah. There we go. And yeah, so yeah, it's a pretty awesome design, this one. Yeah. So my closing remark. Well, just as he showed his angry side on the last album, Plastic Ono Band, this one John shows his loving side on most of the album. Yeah, and it's definitely one of his best. A great album, and I would rank this 4.5 Johns out of 5. So there you have it. Imagine by John Lennon. So my name is Toddster. With just wrapping up another Magical Mystery review, and we'll see you next time. Till then, toodaloo!